Slavery is ending. It really is. I'm just sitting here thinking about how everything seems like all of these puzzle pieces that have been like kind of just thrown up and swirling, and they all starting to make sense. All the pieces are starting to be put together. Um, when we're going from one era to another, something is ending and something is beginning all at the same time. But when I say that slavery is ending and it has been ending for some years, it's interesting because it's kind of the same concept of the moment you are born, you're on track to die, right? So the moment that physical slavery started, it was on track to die. It never was going to be an imminent thing. Like it never was going to be a thing that was forever, right? And there's different versions of it. But when I say slavery is ending, I mean the other components of slavery. Because from the understanding that we have about slavery, especially when it comes to particular people, is that was the part that's most put in front of us was the physical slavery of a body, right? But the other components were the slavery of your mind, your mental, your mindset, and the enslavement of your heart and your emotions, right? So once the physical slavery ended in the capacity that you have been told historically it was, then the other things kicked in, right? All of the other programs or things, they kicked in. So there was no need to keep you in what could be considered like a prison encampment of uh, um, plantation or chains or anything like that, because there was already things put in place for the next phases of this. And the phases were supposed to go on for hundreds of years, thousands of years. But here's the ticker. When I say that slavery is ending, I'm not just talking about like slavery of a particular people, because I don't think we understand that we're this place is always about separatism, right? So these people were enslaved and that people were enslaved and this were enslaved. But when you really start to put things in a total whole, like in a whole, it wasn't just people that were enslaved. It was animals that were enslaved. Go to the zoo. It was insects that were enslaved. It was nature that was enslaved. What do you think landscaping is? Do you understand what I'm saying? Landscaping is a form of slavery. Like it's a form of putting a particular thing, an organism, in a box and not allowing it to flourish or to grow as it naturally does, right? Making things a pretty package, right? So it wasn't just a particular sector of people. Humanity has been enslaved, right? Not per color or gender or anything, like just humanity in general. Now I'm not sure exactly where this is. I don't remember the story because I haven't looked into it in a long time, but it was like some entities came from another planet and created humans to be enslaved because they were looking for, if I'm not mistaken, was it gold? But they was looking for something that they needed to mine here on planet Earth, to take back to their planet, right? I don't know. But I'm just talking about that in the concept of humanity being enslaved, right? Then you also have the concept of, okay, how many people have heard for the past, I don't know, 100 years or whatever, how, I don't know how long it's been, but it's been, I know for me, I've heard in my community, my culture, my family, just the women that I know, we are living in our last days. We are living in our last days. So they're attributing that to what was said in Revelations in the Bible, but Revelations in the Bible has always been looked at as this apocalyptic time, which is true because apocalypse is not just necessarily about a destroying, it is about clearing a falsity. It's about clearing the old narrative. Like, it's every all of the rules that was implemented from Genesis on up are now coming down. And which means, if you've heard anybody say anything about the great reset, the great awakening, Revelations is about the revealing, the great revealing, right? So being as though we realize that nothing is final here. Like, nothing is final. Like, we used to think, I'm going to say me, I used to think that death was final, but there was always this thing inside of me that was like, well, when they tell you about heaven and stuff like that, when I used to believe in shit like that, but when they tell you about heaven, they're talking about, oh, you're gonna be living like this, you're gonna be all of this stuff that's going on in heaven, and I'm like, dang, I thought I was dead. Like, we still got stuff to do. Like, we still got stuff to do, whether it's a good thing, oh, in the clouds with God, Jesus, whatever, and it was just like, oh, okay, so nothing is final here. Not even the version of hell that they've you've been indoctrinated with. Like, even the pictures that they used to scare you with, like with these bodies like melting in um in hot lava fire or whatever it was. Did everybody notice that they were bodies, but you're supposed to be dead? Anyway, so you get to this point where you've hit what would could be considered an end of something, an end of something. And as we know, an end does not have a complete cutoff. It is a gradient thing. So when it's gradient, that means that it has been started somewhere. The trigger happened and it gradually started. It's like the stages of from seed to flower. There are stages, and there are things that are happening. There are things that are happening in an unseen space that one over time you'll all of a sudden see the fruition of that happening. You understand what I'm saying? So what's happening right now is the ending of slavery, the enslavement of your mind, and the enslavement of your heart, the enslavement of your emotionals, your emotions. It is the apocalypse of the soul, the apocalypse of the heart. And what's most important right now, and I'm realizing this, I've realized this over the last couple days through dreams, through just things that I have experienced just from the beginning of this year, the ending of last year, is all of this has to do with your root chakra. Because your root chakra, this is a kundalini rising, the same thing that's happening to the earth, the change in the weather, the atmosphere. We are doing that. It's a symbiotic relationship between you and this earth plane, this realm. And the reason why it's a symbiotic relationship between you and this realm, this earth plane, is because you created it. We created this place. Everything that we agreed upon, belief systems, government, politics, the medical world, how things are supposed to be done, we all made a collective agreement upon it. And the way we shut this shit down is we become aware of all of the shit that we wasn't aware of before to now create something different. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in this physical realm, but you now have to use your internal things, your internal, your heart, your mind, your thoughts, your energy, all of those things, their internal force to change the landscape of the universe. We are in Genesis and Revelations at the same time. So when they say rejoice, yes, rejoice. Because now you are literally the architect of the new universe. Have a good day.